So, ladies and gentlemen, our WHA and NHL trivia questions are continuing today. Who was the first goalie for the Vancouver Canucks? The NHL version, I mean. Cesar Maniego? No. Gary Smith? No. I don't know. Ken Lockett? No. George Gardner. George Gardner holds that distinction. He had played numerous seasons in the NHL before he showed up on Vancouver's roster, and he had that great distinction. Now, George Gardner first came to major prominence coming out of Lachine, Quebec, a 5'10", 165-pound goalie. Came to major prominence again with the Victoriaville Bruins of the QPJHL, where he played 49 games in the 62 season with a 3.51 average. Now, of course, he was undrafted, played with Niagara Falls Flyers of the OHA in 63. Then moved on to the Minneapolis Bruins of the CPHL in 64. Then Detroit's affiliate in Memphis of the CPHL in 65. Now, 66, he spent most of the season with the Pittsburgh Hornets. Got the call up to Detroit for one game in 66. But in 67, he had more of a look by the big team, playing in 11 games with a 3.86 average. Now, sent back to Pittsburgh again of the AHL and Memphis of the CPHL again in 67. More seasoning in Fort Worth in 68 before a 12-game call-up to the Red Wings in 68. Now, the connection was this. He played with the Vancouver Canucks of the WHL over 2 seasons, and he was lucky to find himself with the Vancouver NHL franchise in 71, put up a 6-8-1 record in 18 contests. Now, Rochester also had some seasoning for him that year. 72, played the whole season with Vancouver, but a rough record, 3-14-3 with a 4.17 average. Now, when the WHA came calling, he took the big jump, and along with Russ, the LA Sharks at 73, along with the very, very underrated Russ Gello, he shared duties with the LA Sharks. Gardner that year had 49 games, 3.29 average, and one shutout. 19, 22, and 4 for a very, very talented roster of the Sharks. He didn't make it as far as the playoffs. He played all 3 games for the Sharks. Unfortunately, he did not advance. Now, 74, he found himself shifting around quite a bit. He played with the Roanoke Valley Rebels of the SHL for 4 games, then 2 games the LA Sharks, before finishing his WHA career with the Vancouver Blazers. Rough season for Vancouver that year, ladies and gentlemen. Even though they had a lot of talent on the squad, they ended up, Pete Donnelly was the key to keeping them in every game, but Gardner unfortunately had a very rough year. 4-21-1 record with a 4.72 goals against average. Now, Donnelly obviously was the better player that year, but the Danny Lawson squad with head coach Andy Bathgate really had a hard time with 27-15-1 record for a team that had more talent than they had great results that year, and too bad. But George will always be that distinction to be, again, the first their goalie, or the first one he signed to the NHL. Now, his connections with Vancouver have earned him great respect over the years, and let me tell you, the statistics are very interesting, and I'll give you a reason why. NHL totals, 66 games. WHA totals 79 games. Now, there's some argument if he was probably the last lost goalie of the what I call the Pittsburgh Hornets era, where Detroit had a lot of prospects on the roster. Some of them faded away, but to see him survive, the CHL is a rough league for goalies, because the goals were going left and right there. I'll give an example with Minneapolis in 64. He gave up 235 goals. That was big totals in 63 games, but his save percentage was always a concern, because I'll give an example. With Vancouver in 71, the NHL, he had a 91% save percentage. but that went down severely when he got down to the WHA, and that 74 season, boys, that was rough on him. But it is what it is. Things happen in hockey we don't expect. But anybody makes the Vancouver franchises in the NHL, the WHL, and the WHA, what a legacy! What a great name in Vancouver hockey. George Gardner. When you hear George Gardner too, you think of a time when Vancouver was still building as a franchise, and he was part of that. All the Vancouver franchise. Have a good day. Bye.